More on the situation in Ukraine now, shall we? Following those strikes by Russia overnight, missile and drone attacks on Dnipro, Kharkiv and Kyiv. Reports through the course of the mid-morning of more drone alert sirens in the capital, Kyiv, as well. Let's discuss it further with our security and defence analyst, Professor Michael Clarke. What do you take away from these latest strikes? Because they're pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, the Russians have been threatening now for over a week that they would begin a big campaign against Kyiv, but also other cities as well. I mean, Poltava was targeted overnight, as well as Zaporizhia. We don't see Poltava mentioned so often. And now they're going for daylight strikes on Kyiv. So this is the beginning of, it looks like it, another air offensive, which the Russians have threatened. And they were saying last week, telling people, foreigners, to move out of Kyiv, trying to frighten everyone into moving out, and getting the embassies to take their people out. Nobody did, although the Americans were said to have removed people, and they angrily rejected that and said, no, we kept everyone where they were. So the Russians are trying to create this image now that they're going for a big strategic bombing campaign day and night against the civilian population, in retaliation, they say, for the bombing in what they claim was a bombing of a student dormitory in Luhansk last month.
And this is some of the footage resemblant of the strikes that have happened. And there's, though, on the front line, a lot of talk about the fact that, relatively, compared to where it's been in previous summers and in previous months, Russia's on a bit of a back foot, and that this might be playing into some of what's happening on the front line in the east of Ukraine. Yes,
I mean, because some of it plays into negotiations. The Russians are not talking to the Ukrainians actively, but they are talking to the Americans about Ukraine. And whereas a year ago, the argument was, look, we're winning anyway on the battlefield. You must get the Ukrainians to give in now before it gets worse. That's not now the case, that they're not winning on the battlefield. And what they seem to be saying to the Americans is, look, you know, we are now devastating Ukraine in response to their terrorism against us, and you must tell them to give in now or it'll get worse. The same argument, but with a different battlefront. And so there's a degree of negotiation, I think, in this, in the way the Russians see it. I don't think it'll have very much effect, but that seems to be what they want to do. And we'll see how the Ukrainians get on. I mean, the problem is that the Ukrainians do pretty well against the drones, but not so well against the missiles. We looked last night. I was doing some checking on the figures. They look as if they got 91% of all the drones that were fired, but only 54% of all the missiles. And it's the missiles, of course, that do the damage that are very hard to shoot down.
Where does this go? How can Ukraine kind of try and push back against this? Because, you know, like you say, it's pretty difficult. They've been given a lot of support by the West already. They have, and they need more air defence. I mean, they're running out of Patriot missiles, if they haven't already run out of them. They're developing their own. The Firepoint, who very successful drone operators who produce the Flamingo. The FP7 looks as if they're in conjunction with European firms to try to produce their own anti-ballistic missile defence. And who's to say they can't produce it by this time next year? If that was in the West, we'd be talking about 8 or 10 years. They can do it by next year. And it'll work. It'll work well enough. Yeah. So if they can get through the next few months of these air attacks, the chances are they might be able to resist more of them in the future. Michael, good to have you with us. Appreciate it. Thank you.